Welcome to TradeTheMBI.com. This is John. This report is for the 4th of October. Yesterday saw us make a nice peak run move, but we were already seeing that the orange was breaking over short-term buyers, and they had been fading for the last day plus from a daily standpoint. Puts us in a short snake from a daily, green about to cross below red. Not exactly all the things you're looking for, but again, we're still holding above the ABM. But that's going to be interesting, because if that starts to break, then you're going to have to start looking at some of these other numbers. And there's quite a few resistance points in between there, but I would imagine if some selling starts, it's going to break right through them. That leaves 2,900 for the ABM green at the downside of the overall picture. Worth keeping note of. Likewise, here you have the NASDAQ, and of course, you're going to have everyone talk about double tops. And you can see the NASDAQ just dipped below, and it's fighting right back and forth between the ABM yellow, flipping it. And of course, Euro putting some pressure on it. We can see that this had begun its fade from, back over here at the peak in a beautiful, you can see it right there, DOC spread combination with orange skyrocketing above, steel dipping below, green below red, all the little configurations that you look for, all in one. And sure enough, followed through. And of course, there's that number. It's been sitting down here. We've been waiting with all of this up here, but it kept talking about this 113 level that we were looking at. Starting to get closer. It's that final realization that, hey, the economy is not stopped. And of course, this, even with the Saudis increasing their production in that, there's going to be some bottlenecks when you have this much growth, too much demand, not enough supply capacity. And it's not that they can't pump it, this is what they're going to do with it when they do. And that's gold, just can't seem to get out of its own way. Everything you want right here from a buy configuration, except for the fact that you got rejected right when green needed to break above. Cyan overtakes, doesn't allow for the big push. So let's look at this 5K, because it was I thought, a very good day. We started off with this huge push. Just expand this so that it becomes clear. Got gold early. Nothing really from a positive extreme standpoint. It wasn't until we made this pop right here that gave a significant target, and then it was just a matter of waiting for a decent configuration that really didn't take place until we got sort of like right here. And at that point, there wasn't a whole lot of room to that positive extreme, but nonetheless, it still filled it, and then it actually went further to the 61. So worked out fairly decent. Then we ended up getting into this consolidation over bought, but it kept producing similar kind of short snakes that would then get resolved, return again a little bit stronger. The final one was a little bit softer right in between, but again, you'd had this continual riding lower of pivots from the red as well as green staying below. And it was just an indication that even along this consolidation, there was just a lot of weakness taking place. And certainly you weren't getting a reset of steel. And so once it started, it was a beautiful cascade lower. And even once the buy configuration came in, boom, yellow candle early on, and literally got rejected pretty fast. It was right about here that we started to see the mix of the cyan to green, and when the green can't overtake that directly, and then of course once you have orange move above, you know that ends the long cycle. So it didn't take much for that one to be a failure. It tried it again, a little bit higher pivot, and that's where you see the P2. This one becomes a little bit more attractive, but again, there it is. So orange breaks above green, green can't even get above cyan. That's your indication. You can actually short that, because this is what you call those fake pumps. Moved sideways for a little bit before the final closeout of the day, and you ended up with the start of another short snake at the same time that you are getting this lovely steel rising, well, it's actually just the azure rising from there. And that has led to a cascade of gold at zero. Boom. Of course, you had the gold below 38. That already told you were going to head back to the zero level. So, and that's a nice one, because when you're thinking about it, it's like, okay, great. I've got this close here at 30.75. Next bar is a gold candle. Well, it means I'm expecting 25. So from 30 to 25, you're looking for a 5-point move. So at that point, you can set your 61 stop, and not only do you hit your 5-point move, but at that point, there's really no buy signal within this configuration, no reset of steel in any way, shape, or form. Isn't until right here that you get a cross of steel above cyan, but at that particular point, without a reset of orange coming down, continuation. So this is the first indication of you had the green crossover, orange now dipping below, and then improved shake up, but not all that particularly great. The difference is here you've made lower lows on higher extremes, and that usually creates a little bit of a bounce. So definitely be watching that one on a turnaround, particularly with the dip of the cyan here, minus 637 already, and at minus 625 you tend to get a pop bounce from those. But all in all, beautiful action, easy to grab. I have to take a look where I am on this one. Let me see real quick. Can take a look. I'm at the 40-50, have it at 32. I got to lower it just a little bit because we've had a drop since then of the 61%. So I'll be following that one down, and we can see the price is all the way down here. So all in all, that's doing just fine and following straight off what we had. This ABM up here originally was right at 41.50, so just below that from a standpoint, which, like I always like to say, when you're below the ABM yellow, it's better to be leaning short than long, and when you're above it, better to be long than short. It kind of works out that way if you want to follow those trend moves. So that's where we're at this particular point. It's early still, so plenty of time before opening that, but it indicates that we're probably going to see a little bit more softness going into the start of Thursday's action. As always, though, trade well. We'll talk to you later.